As I coach physicians and physician leaders across North America during the coronavirus pandemic, I'm struck by the intensity of emotions that almost all of them are experiencing. Everything from sadness, grief, guilt, anger, frustration, annoyance, overwhelm. And these emotions can hit people like a cascade, almost like an intense wave, and we typically don't learn how to manage the emotions that we can be experiencing. With emotional intelligence, we develop the self-awareness. We understand what our emotions are telling us, and we become much more able to regulate them. I'd like to cover 4 things that you can do to become more aware of your own emotions and thus become really more the master of them rather than the slave. The first of these is getting to know your emotional weather system. We all have an emotional weather system, just like the weather in the sky, clouds passing through, sometimes that are quite stormy. And if we can get to know our own emotional weather pattern, in other words, taking our emotional temperature, we stand a much better chance of being able to work with those emotions and actually gain mastery over them. The second strategy that I'd like to discuss is really understanding what your emotional triggers are. What do I mean by that? Well, when we experience an intense emotion, it's likely that we've actually been triggered into that by some stimulus, either in an interaction that we're having or something that's occurring in our environment. The top triggers that I see in healthcare are a sense that we're not being respected, that our needs are not being seen and appreciated, or perhaps a sense that someone, ourselves or someone else, is being treated unfairly by a very broken and dysfunctional system. And it's really important to understand what your triggers are. That's something that I work with all of my coaching clients with, because then you can begin to see, oh, I'm being triggered. I need to be very careful and tread very lightly so that I don't move into a reactive and non-professional state. The third thing that is vitally important for emotional intelligence is being kind to ourselves. How many times have you said to yourself, why am I feeling this? What's wrong with me? Or, everyone else seems so happy. What on earth am I sad about? Or, why am I so irritable and impatient with those kids who are now home 24/7? Everyone else seems to be patient with them. And we tend to pile on what's already a difficult situation of a challenging emotion. We can really dig ourselves into a hole. What I see over and over and over in the hundreds of physicians I've had the privilege of coaching is that when we can replace that judgment with some kindness and compassion to ourselves, we can actually better weather the emotions that we experience. And lastly, it's critically important to remind yourself that all emotions pass. In fact, they typically pass within 1 to 2 minutes. So if we can remind ourselves of that, we can find some calm in that rush of the emotional wave. I really want to encourage you to take note of these 4 strategies, try them out, and see if it helps you build more steadiness and calm during this difficult time.